Got this 6300 series converter. Everything's working except that it doesn't charge the battery. So there's a board down in here on the right, and that board is responsible for 12 volt output to the battery, which is regulated. So if the battery's low on charge, it'll send a larger amount of current, and as the battery charges up, it reduces current or voltage and maintains the battery. And that's not working. Everything else is functioning. So we're going to pull this lower unit out and attempt to repair whatever's wrong on that board. So I've successfully removed the converter section of this control panel. I'll take it to my workshop and we'll see what we can do with this board in here. She needs a good cleanup, that's for sure. Alright, so I was able to figure out what's wrong with this converter. And again, the converter does supply power to the RV, but it's not charging the battery. Ended up being right there, circuit breaker. So there is a limiting resistor for charging the battery, and this is the breaker on the output. So I've got a 15 amp breaker here, a little bit different design. This one's got threaded lugs on it, so gonna have to cut the wires off and put some wires on with terminals. No big deal. And at the same time, I've got the fan out. Fan is actually working, but when you spin it, it's kind of binding. So in each end where the bushing is for the shaft, you can see that felt that's down inside, and that dries out. So this provides lubricant for the bushing. So we're going to add some lubricant into that felt, clean everything up, which I've already done, and this motor will be good as new. So we'll do a final on this, and I'll give an explanation as to the outputs and so on. So we're going back together with this motor. Just a little FYI, these bushings actually swivel in here. So when you put it on, I'm trying to use one hand to show this, but when you put it on, you can pivot the bushing in there. And a lot of times when you take one of these motors apart, you put it back together again, you'll notice that the fan is binding. In other words, it doesn't spin freely. This fan motor back together, and as I mentioned before, it doesn't spin freely. So the solution to this is to tap on the housing, which is up here, right here on this housing. You don't want to hit it with a hammer. You can use the back of a screwdriver, and you're going to tap on that, and now the fan spins totally free. So instead of buying a new motor, we cleaned it up, lubricated it, and we're all set. Next step is to replace the circuit breaker. This particular breaker is riveted in place, so I'm going to drill the rivet out, and we'll use a nut and screw to install the new one. So we got the fan back in. I'm running 110 voltage to it, so it's as if we're connected to shore power. And simple way to test the fan is to jump the thermal switch, and there's our fan. The fan's working good, spinning freely now. And I've got the circuit breaker installed. Again, the old one was soldered. This one has threaded lugs, so we had to add some wires with terminals. Now, the way this works is when you apply 110 volts power here, the unit goes active, and so the white wire is ground, and this wire here is connected to your batteries. So when the unit's turned off, battery feeds through the unit through that contactor relay right there. So that relay is closed when there's no power applied. In other words, house power or shore power. So you're feeding your battery voltage through the red wire, and that battery voltage comes back out on the blue wire. So all your lighting and everything 12 volts in your RV is going to work off the batteries. As soon as you plug into shore power, this contact here opens up. And now what's happening is you're no longer connected to the batteries to your RV. Your batteries are disconnected, and now this transformer going through a rectifier is supplying the 12 volts to your trailer or to your RV. At the same time, we're back feeding voltage to charge the batteries on the red wire. So if I run a test now and connect to the red wire, I'm showing 13.8 approximately output. And to the blue wire, we have almost 13 volts. So again, 13 volts supplying our RV with power. And on the red wire, we're supplying charge voltage back to the batteries. There is an adjustment. Specification is 13.8. And down here, where my screwdriver is, so pointing into here, right there, there's a potentiometer that can be adjusted to adjust the output voltage to the battery. I have to do a final adjustment once I get this reinstalled and hooked up to the batteries. So we have a fully operational unit. This is a 1987 unit and still working. They don't make stuff like they used to.